Hello, this is Raziel Cohen with ndftraining.com, and today we're going to be speaking about 3 really cool products you're able to get from Arrowhead Tactical. Now, this is a company that I saw advertisements for quite a while on social media, and they had a very creative idea, and I really wanted to be able to experiment with it to see if it's actually realistic for the average user. So these are 2 different pieces of clothing you're able to buy from them, along with a belt that is included in some of their products. And it's a very unique design that all works together to be able to create a potentially very, very interesting concealed carry method and still being able to be comfortable. Now, the pants idea was actually something I've thought about in the past in regards to being able to put together, but it's a very, very complicated thing to be able to do. So it was cool to see that someone was able to actually do it. So let's get right into it. So I'm going to start with the pants first. I really suggest you stick around to check out the sweater, the hoodie, because that is really kind of where their technology is at, and I think it's really cool. But let's start with the pants, and we'll go through the details and what it kind of offers, and then we'll go from there into the sweater to show you why this is such an interesting product. So starting off with the pants, this is kind of like a regular set of joggers, like a regular sweatpants. On the outside, there's kind of a somewhat reflective layer. So if you're jogging or if you're running around, you'll get somewhat reflection. I don't think that's specifically what it's designed for, but it does have that, so you have some level of comfort. Both the pants and the sweater fit very comfortably. It's kind of a very soft material. It's very comfortable, and it definitely fits well to your body. So it's not something that's loose or baggy. It kind of has a very good balance between the fit and the way that it's actually comfortable. So I really, really like that. That's the immediate off the top thing that I'm going to say about any of the things that they offer. It was definitely very comfortable. What I'm going to say though is that going into this review, I was going to be very critical because there were some things about it that I wanted to be able to point out. And generally speaking, I don't really like making critical reviews. There were plenty of products that were sent to me before where companies asked me to make a video on, and I rejected them just because I felt like it wasn't ready for production yet. So I like making these videos because I want to show products that I think are very cool and something that might be beneficial to you. Now, there are some times that I don't think that for myself, the product would be valuable, but it doesn't mean that the product wouldn't be valuable to you. So if it's still something that I find that's interesting, but I personally wouldn't use, I would still make a video on it. So before going into it, I reached out to the company and I was asking them what are their thoughts on the things that I had, the critiques that I had, and they were able to actually very much resolve those questions that I had, which is a great thing for customer service, as well as also me making sure that I'm actually providing you guys with the right information about this product. So the pants is really where I had more of the critiques. So what it is, in short, is that these pants have a belt loop on the inside of the webbing. So pretty much what it is that you'd be wearing a regular pair of what looks to be regular sweatpants, but you're able to have an actual belt on the inside that holds everything together. The value of that is that usually for joggers or sweatpants like this, you would not be able to conceal carry a firearm well unless you use certain, maybe like the ulti clips or something along those lines that'd be able to hold the gun and holster in place properly. But you could oftentimes, with these kind of pants, when you're doing a draw, you might have a more of a jerking motion where there's going to be a moment where the holster and the gun kind of have to separate from each other, and it can be kind of like a bounce, and it makes your draw inconsistent. And that was always a concern I had when wearing more comfortable pants, that I wouldn't be able to use my draw stroke properly, which could be, again, very risky when you're in a very dangerous situation. So they've pretty much put loops on the inside of the waistband, so you could use a belt that comes along the inside that's able to actually make it more sturdy of a structure. So here's where the first critique comes in. This is one of the belts that they provide on their website. Overall, it's actually a very good belt because it's actually very rigid, it's actually very strong, it works very well. The problem comes to when it's on the inside of the actual pants. So I'm gonna do a close-up of this, but in the actual pants, by the appendix area, there's a small amount of space of where there is a no loop area, which is usually where the holster clips would be able to go. And as most of you know, if you carry appendix, the smaller the clip is in front, the more easy it is to be able to do it. This is somewhat large to be able to use for that area, and it takes up quite a large amount of space in that spot, which I really wish there was something that would be more minimalistic. The other issue I had with this is that when you're going to be sitting down, it takes not that much effort that if I'm just going to put them a little bit closer together, you could actually just see it pop right out. So it does not take that much effort for it to be able to open up again, which again is not very comfortable because if you're sitting down in an appendix and it opens, you now have no stability for your belt. So personally, I'd recommend using a different belt. Now, I've actually made quite a few videos on belts that would work for this pants perfectly in the past. Specifically, I have 3 belts that are over here. This one is from V Development Group. I just made a video on this. The reason why this belt is so cool is because since this was specifically designed for appendix use, the front area is rigid and the rest of it is looped and soft. So when you put it into this pair of pants, you could actually loop it around as a very small clip of where everything attaches to. And this is, I think, an excellent option for these pair of pants. Again, I love the design of the pants. I love everything about it. The only thing is that this specific belt might not be the best option when you're going to be carrying. So this belt might be a great option. Another belt that I made a video in the past is this belt is from Vetter. This is really cool also because you pretty much choose the size that you'd usually be wearing, and then it just kind of loops into itself and locks in place, and that's the extent of the belt. There's not much more to it. The reason why this specifically is very interesting as well is another problem I had with the pants is that if you're carrying a gun and if you have a belt on, if you need to run to the bathroom, it is going to take a long time to get everything off because everything has to be undone and unclipped, and it takes much longer of a process to be able to get everything off. So having something like the Vetter belt where it's just kind of a slip off and it's right in front and that's where everything's happening is just right there, is going to be much easier to be able to take off your pants if you need to be able to do that. Again, with something like this, it's very hard to have the holster in place. And with something like this from V Development Group, although I very much enjoy this belt, this is still going to be a Velcro option that's going to be looped around on the inside of the belt, which means it still might take a little bit longer to be able to take it off. Another belt option that you might have seen in the past. This is from, I believe it's from Blue Alpha Gear, and it's the same concept where it's a very small loop in the front and it wraps around very easily and it has the same Velcro attachment. Again, the same issue might apply where when you wrap it around and it's going to be Velcroed on the inside of the pants, to be able to remove it will just take a little bit longer. So just something to take into account. So of these options over here, I think the belt that worked best was the Vetter, just because it's able to be taken on and off very quickly. My second option would be from V Development Group because it's specifically designed for appendix carry. So if you want to carry appendix with this setup, I think this would work best. And then after that, you could always use the one from Blue Alpha Gear, which again is a minimalistic setup. It'll just take time to take it off. I still honestly would not recommend the belt that comes with it because although it's actually rigid, the buckle itself is what kind of gets me worried. Other than that, the pants itself are actually very cool. So now let's go into a few of the other features that these pants offer. So besides for the two front pockets that are pretty conventional on a regular pair of sweatpants, the back of the pants actually has also a very cool design where there's an additional 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pockets. Now, I'm not sure, there are these two smaller pockets that I'll do a close-up on you guys for. I'm not sure what these smaller pockets are for. It looks like somewhere that would actually be very convenient to have maybe like a permanent marker. So if you're carrying around a tourniquet, then you could have something to mark with, or again, any type of pen in general. Maybe it's able to carry a single stack of very small magazine, but for me, this is like a standard Glock size magazine. They were not able to fit into that pocket, so I'm not sure exactly what the original design was for, but these two rear pockets are zippered, and on the inside of those zippers, there's actually another loop where it does fit Glock style double stack magazines. I'll for sure fit a single stack magazine as well. So if you're going to be doing draws, or if you want to have a spare magazine on you, you could actually have a spot there that you're able to draw from and be able to actually have that there. So whether you're going to be right-handed or left-handed, both those rear pockets are also going to have an area where you can put the magazine in, and that also works very well. So again, this is not meant as a full battle belt tactical setup. This is meant for casual use. So if you're going to be going on a jog, if you're going to be going to the gym and you want to be able to have an option, then this could definitely work. So now let's move on to the hoodie that they designed, which is really kind of where their amazing designs work together. This hoodie, in conjunction with our sweatpants, I think is a very great combination. They do come in different colors, both the sweatpants and the hoodies themselves, but this is again where really their technology shines. I'm going to speak about some pros and cons associated with it, so make sure to hear those and understand what those are going to be, but let's go through it again. Again, going through design first, this is a very well fitted, very comfortable hoodie. I very much enjoyed being able to wear it, and I haven't had any issues with fitment or anything like that. They do have a sizing chart on their website, so you can make sure you're ordering the correct one for you. But again, in regards to comfort and working, everything works fine. It's very comfortable. This has kind of like a square design that goes throughout the entire material, which to an extent, not fully, but to an extent could kind of make more of a distortion. So if you're going to be printing, it'll do a little bit less. Again, it's not perfect, but it's definitely better than a neutral designed hoodie where it'll be just very clear. So that does help a little bit with printing. Now, where this technology is incredible is in the hand areas themselves. So when you have your hands in your pocket, there's actually an area at the bottom over here where it feeds right out of the hoodie. So it goes from the inside straight to where your appendix would be. So if you're carrying appendix, you could grab the gun right there without even anyone noticing that you're actually drawing your gun. So now there's a button over there that you're able to open up. So once that button is open, you have full access and you'd be able to draw without any issue. The other critique, I reached out to them. I said it would be very interesting if instead of a button, there'd be a zipper. So if one day I'm not carrying, or I just want to be able to use this as a casual hoodie, I could zip it up and then have it as a pocket. Because right now, if it's just a single button that's securing it in place, you can't have anything in that pocket. You're only able to have it accessible for your hands, which to an extent makes me wonder why there's a button at all, because again, there's no value to the pocket in being able to be used as a pocket, if that makes sense. So I reached out to them and they said that, again, their design is specifically for concealed carry use. They weren't thinking about anything else other than the end user that's going to be using it for concealed carry. So for that in mind, that was the reason why they didn't put a zipper, is because they wanted it to be a solely focused, individual made item for a specific purpose. So I respect that. I understand the reason for why they did that. I would still prefer if there was a zipper for casual use. But again, I understand why it was made in that way, because they had a very specific reason for why it was designed. So this is going to be able to access your appendix, and you could draw and then it removes from the pocket. Now, immediately what you might consider is there is an issue for snagging. So you really want to be careful which gun you end up using for this setup, because if you have a full-size Glock 34 with a flashlight and a red dot, then being able to draw it out of the pocket will obviously be very, very risky. And especially under stress, if you're going to do it really quickly, there could be a risk of you getting really locked up, and that could be something that's very dangerous. So if you have a smaller gun, then it shouldn't be that much of an issue. You definitely want to be able to practice it. The other thing that you could be able to use it for is just having your hand in your pocket where you could be able to open it up all the way out. It can help with your draw. So you're not taking the gun out from that area, but you're going to be reaching out and just having an area that's able to clear out a little bit easier, if that makes any sense. So that's something that I think is very cool. Again, in conjunction with those pants, where you'll be able to have a very good combination that works together very well. That might be something that might be worth looking into. In general, though, I think the sweaters are actually very comfortable and they feel very, very nice. It has a very great, very nice material to be able to use. So in general, if you wanted a sweater and it just also happens to come with these additional features, then that might be something you might want to look into. So if you have any questions on any of this, if there's any gear you'd recommend or something I might need to take into consideration when it comes to this setup, please feel free to leave a comment down below, and we'll be able to get to you as soon as I can. This is Raziel Cohen with ndftraining.com. Thank you for watching.